What to consider when buying a camera. The first thing you want to know are the four main types of cameras available. You have your compact cameras, bridge cameras, DSLR cameras, and mirrorless cameras. Compact cameras are the simplest of the four. They're referred to as point and shoot cameras because they're literally just that. They're small enough to fit in your pocket, they have a built-in lens, and you simply point and shoot. You'll be able to zoom in a minor way, and some of the higher end compact cameras actually have the ability to shoot 4K videos. But with this camera, that's really about can't speak English. That's literally just about it. You literally just hold, point, shoot, and there's not much to it. And the price range for that is about $95 to somewhere around $1,300. Next up, bridge cameras. Bridge cameras are halfway between a compact camera and what we'll get into later, a DSLR camera. That's why it's called the bridge. It bridges the gap between the two. They grant you a little more control around how you shoot than what you'd get from a basic compact camera, such as having manual controls over the ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. Now, they typically aren't quite as advanced or expensive as DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. Bridge cameras are about $130 on the low end to about $1,700 on the high end. Moving on, DSLRs up until mirrorless cameras have been the pinnacle of consumer and professional photographic technology, generally offering greater image quality and speed than what you get from a bridge camera. They also take interchangeable lenses, which we'll get into later, and various other accessories, and they offer even greater amount of control than is generally possible on a bridge camera. So these are generally used, DSLRs are generally used to shoot photography while still having pretty darn good video capabilities. Low end, $350 or so, high end, $7,000. Not all cameras are created equal. So an entry-level DSLR doesn't offer a huge increase in quality over a top-level bridge camera. Last but not least, you have mirrorless. Mirrorless cameras are known as the perfect hybrid camera that offers high-quality photography, all the while offering high-quality video capabilities at a better price compared to the DSLR, because it's just much more expensive to manufacture DSLRs. So for mirrorless, you're looking at about $500 to $5,000. So now what? What should you buy? It's such a loaded question because it really is fully dependent on the individual. There are just so many different variables, and it's unrealistic for me to try to tackle every possible scenario. You've got to ask yourself, what do you want to do? What are your goals? Do you want to take pictures? You can do that with any camera. Do you want to vlog? You can turn on the front camera on your phone. Do you want to shoot videos? Well, you can also do that with your phone or a very inexpensive camera. Do you want to start a business? Well, you don't need to start out with the top of the line camera. You can start a business with a $500 camera, build your portfolio, and then save to get something better from there. Do you care about the quality of your videos? Not so much. Well, you've got plenty of options. What if you do care about the quality of your videos? Then you've got to ask yourself, how much do you actually care? Because for example, say if you want to be a YouTuber, there are YouTubers making tons of money and who are quite successful using cameras under $1,000 that look absolutely fine, and they still don't look as great as other YouTubers with super high quality cameras, not really making much on YouTube, right? Do you want to create a TV series? Are you looking to start a podcast? Do you want to shoot travel videos, landscape photography? Are you starting to see how this is such a loaded question? So I really thought about this. I have 4 main points to consider when asking yourself if you should buy a camera, and if so, which type of camera you should look into. Number 1, your phone camera just might be the best option, at least for when you're just you're first starting out. What I will say about compact and bridge cameras is because a majority of the population own a smartphone with camera capabilities that nearly match up, if not actually matches up, it does get difficult to justify buying one of them for however many hundreds when something like the iPhone Pro 12 or Samsung Galaxy S21 can perform up to par with a dedicated camera, or does so extremely closely that not many can tell the difference if you were to post a picture on Instagram. I would say the only reason to get a bridge camera would be if you had an interest in actually learning the three kings of photography, which will help you in videography too. And even then, the pro models of the top of the line smartphones have that option to practice with the shutter speed, ISO, and aperture. So I don't know, if you have an older phone or a flip phone, then sure, I'd understand getting one because those cameras can be cheaper than those top of the line phones. The other reason that would make sense to me is the camera doesn't have other things on it that take up storage. So that would be a benefit, as some phones can run out of space fast. But if you have a flagship smartphone that came out within the past 1 to 2 years, I just don't see the point, especially since phones can be more than your camera. It can be your laptop. You can FaceTime. You can share whatever you captured right away on your social medias. It's your movie screen, your TV screen. You can do research on that thing. You can cheat on your schoolwork on that thing. You can slide into someone's DMs. I mean, the list goes on. Maybe I'm ignorant to something, so please leave a comment. Let me know if I'm missing something, or let me know your thoughts if you have any. Number 2, you can take pretty good photos with just about any camera. The quality of your images falls under something called the image sensor. Generally speaking, the bigger the camera sensor, the higher the quality of your images. To put it into perspective, high-end phone cameras have a sensor size of approximately 9.6 by 7.2 millimeters, right? Compact and bridge cameras can be anywhere from 6.2 by 4.6 millimeters to 13.2 by 8.8 millimeters. Phone cameras are essentially right in the middle, which is why I said earlier that phone cameras are just as good, if not better, in many cases when comparing bridge cameras and compact cameras. Top level cameras have full frame cameras, which are 36 by 24 millimeters, so a big jump. So what does this all mean? While the camera alone isn't the sole factor in determining image quality, the size of the image sensor does play an important factor if you want high quality photos and videos. Big sensor cameras have more dynamic range, which is the camera's ability to retain more information in the shadows and highlights. So if ever you're underexposed or you have blown out images, you can use an editing software of your choosing to adjust your images to get the ideal image. Many people who focus on megapixels, which is something else to consider, but you can have a camera with relatively low megapixels and still produce amazing images because the camera has a great sensor. Number 3, lenses. As you may be considering a DSLR or mirrorless camera, now we're in a conversation about lenses. Many of these cameras come with an option to purchase the kit lens, which can be decent, but don't tend to get used long term, because what you'll start to realize is most kit lenses are garbage. They just are. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know. But they aren't usually great in my opinion, but they do sell you on the bundle because, well, why would you buy a body with no lens to use with it, not knowing what lenses would be best, having never experienced other lenses before? So my thoughts, if you know you're serious about the quality of your images, don't buy the kit lens. Find out which lens would fit your needs for what you would want to shoot, okay? And as you consider the brand and purchasing lenses for that brand, whether they're manufactured by that brand or from a third party, do note that you'd be investing in a lens family. Does the brand matter? No, absolutely not. The way I relate it is like choosing Android or iPhones. I know, there's a whole war, but you choose what you choose and you use that. So in relation to the lenses, do you know how iPhone kind of locks you into their ecosystem? You get the phone and can connect it to your Mac laptop, then you'll get the iPad and the Apple Watch, and they all just work so great together. They have an amazing ecosystem. At that point, you're so invested and locked in, it's just like, why would you leave? And even if you wanted to, Apple does make it pretty difficult to explore other options because Apple has its own built-in cloud system that stores everything automatically for you, from your notes, your calendar, your bookmarks, your photos, and can't forget about your photos. Like, that's gonna be the hardest to move, right? But you can access all of that information on any other Apple device wherever you are, in your house or whatever, or if you're outdoors, you can just access it anywhere. Then you've got iMessage, which has all of these features that make people feel like they're in an exclusive group of people. So this is what investing in the Lens family is like. Unless you have loads of cash to, have many different brand options, most people tend to just stick to one brand. And the thing about lenses is they tend to last so much longer than camera bodies, meaning the technology in camera bodies updates fairly quickly, right? So every 1 to 4 to 5 years or so, compared to lenses that can be used for decades. I mean, take Canon has a nifty 50 millimeter with a f1.4 apertures, right? So when I Googled it, that thing came out in 1993. Still popular today and can give you decent pictures, like really good pictures. Obviously, the more expensive lenses are like magic, but the point is, you're more likely to buy a new body that you're able to still use your already purchased lenses with, right? Number 4, gear is expensive. Consider how much money you're willing to drop on gear, because gear can get very expensive if you're not careful. You'll find yourself buying unnecessary things that you don't actually use in the long term. Or you could be so excited to get the newest and greatest, but the newest and greatest doesn't mean you'll be the greatest. I've seen amazing things done with much, much less. So I suggest renting first as you're in the market. Find a place that rents gear and put those to the test. Ask the employees there their thoughts on what they think you should buy based on what you're trying to do. They'll recommend gear for you to rent and test out. If you've made a decision to buy, like you finally found exactly what camera lens you want, buy used if possible. No one will ever know. No one will ever know.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know? How would they know?
They're gonna know. No one will ever. Sorry. But I'm so serious. Like, for example, this lens right here, it's rented. Therefore, it's used. It's been used hundreds of times. Did you know that initially, like as you put on this video? No, you didn't know. No one will ever know. No one will ever. I'm sorry. Stupid TikToks in my mind. Also, I'm digressing a little bit here, but since we're on the topic of gear, the higher quality camera you have, the more power you'll need from your computer. Computers that sell in stores sometimes may not be the beast of a machine you need to do some of the high-level editing that you might need to do. And Apple's computers are great and sometimes can be super expensive. Although I do hear the Apple's A1 chip, which is pretty inexpensive, is pretty damn phenomenal. Video editing and sometimes photography can require so much power usage. Like, I hate editing on my laptop, for example, because everything is just so exponentially slower than compared to my computer, which I built from scratch. So shout out to my brother, because without him, I'd have to throw my laptop just out the window. I just get upset thinking about it. Then there's the hard drives. You might need to store these things. You may want a gimbal. You might want external lights. You might want an external mic and or audio interface to record outside of the camera, because let's face it, cameras' mics are typically utter garbage. Then you have the editing software. You need to pay for to edit, such as the ones in the Adobe family or the Apple family, Capture One, DaVinci Resolve, amongst others I can't really think of right now. But they make it easier and easier nowadays to edit. But still, editing softwares does have a learning curve, and that takes time, years and years. There it is. Those are my thoughts. Oh, how could I forget? You also have the honorable mentions like action cameras, 360 cameras, film cameras, and cinema cameras. I mean, your options are endless. It literally all depends on what you want to do and what resources you have. I hope this video helps answer your question and gives a little guidance and direction. Thank you for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind, please like the video if you found value in this. If you didn't like the video, then please like it anyway. Anyway, just to acknowledge the effort. You know, subscribe if you want to see more. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. I love you. Trust your ideas. If you love to create, go and create. Thank you. Ugh, I did it. You think they could tell I was reading from a script?